For sure, yeah. So can I actually change direction? So maybe early change of direction drills, agility drills. Can we get out the ladder and start doing some of that? Because that's low impact, way before some of the higher plyometric stuff. Even like shuffles. I don't know if you guys do like side shuffles or shuffle to retreat. So can I actually like run forward and then shuffle back, especially tennis, since that's a forward backward kind of motion as well to get stuff closer to the net. You can also start like curvilinear running, right? So if I have her start doing some light jogging, cadence work, now can I actually run in an S direction, or can I run in a figure 8? Some things where you're starting to introduce a little bit of that change of direction, but it's maybe not just like cutting at a cone, but you're starting to introduce some of that like easier change of direction early. Awesome. Maybe your A skips, B skips, like Jake was saying. Emphasis on that frontal and transverse plane. We got some box jumps going on. That is less gravity, right? If I'm jumping onto a box, that's less gravity than jumping off of it. So maybe we start to add some of that, see how she handles it. And then any kind of pogo, right? Because if I can teach my ankle to take a lot more of the load, then my hip doesn't even have to take a lot of the load when I'm changing direction. So how quick can we get those pogos moving? How much load can we offload to the ankle and the foot and get rid of how much work the hip has to do? So the stronger the ankle, the better off that hip's going to be. We've got med ball work, so maybe we're starting to do some rotational slams to the wall. She should have the range, she should have the strength. So now we're going to add velocity to what her trunk can do in dissociating from the hip again. Tennis is literally, can my foot and my ankle stay here while my whole body rotates, right? So again, kind of coming back to that sport specific, can we step into what she does as an athlete? And it's a whole lot of dissociating hip from trunk. So really med ball stuff against the wall, like whether you're facing, so here's the exo stuff, so parallel versus perpendicular to the wall, work on both, because rotationally those shovel passes will really help her kind of figure out, is this hip able to tolerate velocity yet? Snap downs, your step offs, all of those kind of things, that's like weight acceptance. Keeping up with those the cardio, maybe you're adding intervals now because I want to get her heart rate up much higher. I want to fatigue her out a little bit and see if she can actually handle then doing those movements as well. Any other particular things come to mind? Pretty good. Okay, and then again, if we have any questions later, some of the passing tests to get out of that phase and to get back to some of that phase 4, I would say that loaded rear foot elevated split squat, can they do 50% body weight, 10 reps on each side? Lateral box squat, you're looking for that 25% body weight, and on that one, you want the same thing, maybe at least 10 aside. Pogos, they should not be hurting her anymore. Remember that double leg pogos were hurting her that very first time. So I'm going to retest that, make sure that's not painful. And I'm going to go to single leg options as well and make sure that that's not bothersome either, since she has to be able to change direction. The lateral line hops. So can I be on one leg, hop lateral side to side? Does that cause pain, or do we need to stick in this phase a little bit longer to work on some stability work? And then again, I'm going to retest that Tindex stuff to make sure that I'm making progress strength-wise. Sweet. Phase 4. What happens phase 4? Anybody in particular? What would you throw at her?
I guess I feel like that's like more the reactive, more sport specific stuff. Like they like change the direction. You might have the ball, drop it, and she goes a different direction. Or more of like the cognitive thing. Like I've seen some people do like colored arrows on like a PowerPoint thing, and they either go like red, green, like one way, or you change it so the colors mean opposite. So red used to mean right, but it actually means left. Things like that.
Love it. Yeah, that's ICANN has those charts that they use. So they have like, hey, if I have a line, if it's going this way, I want you to change the direction sideways. If it's here, I want you doing a diagonal movement. So you can kind of use like vision charts too. I can maybe send you guys a picture of one of those. I'll put a picture of one of those on the Slack board, because you can use those in about a million ways. So I'll send those to you, and that's really helpful in this phase because they're having to react to whatever the visual cue is. Awesome. Anything else you guys would add on that one? Those are probably the big things. So like adding some of that reactive stuff. So continue loading. So obviously we're still going to be strengthening. Maybe you're going heavier. She's doing a heavier loaded back squat. Maybe now she can start doing some zombie squats with a little bit of load. So she's getting that anterior core that we were talking about. I still want to keep going a little heavier on my deadlift. And maybe can I go a little bit more towards that single leg RDL with a heavier load as well, so that whenever she gets back, she's ready to go. True change of direction drills. We've got reactive drills, like you were saying, they can react either to visual cues, to verbal cues. So make sure you're mixing up what cues that they're using. Those true plyometrics. So can she actually come off of a box and land on one leg? In tennis, usually they're hopping and, hey, I have to change direction very quickly. So that single leg, especially hopping from a box laterally, is going to be big time for tennis players. So being real specific to those depth drops. Any kind of sport specific drills, chaotic environment. Let's say you have some things that are distracting her a little bit, or she has to be listening to you saying like a bunch of different phrases. So I have colors, red, green, yellow, blue, red, and she has to do certain things when she hears one of those particular colors. So there's noise, right? There's other things that she's having to sift through in order to find the command. And then, yeah, like introduce the hop test, right? So if I'm going to do hop tests in order to clear an athlete to leave me, I don't want the test to be the first time that they're doing it. So make sure you're introducing the crossover hop test. Maybe you're introducing a single leg hop for distance, a triple leg hop for distance. Maybe you're introducing the broad jump. So make sure you're introducing the things that you're going to test so that neurologically it's not a neuro test, but it's actually a true capacity test, if that makes sense too. And then what are you guys telling her tennis wise? I don't know if you guys, so if you don't know tennis, I would say get online, find some tennis drills that you can kind of mimic in the clinic. But then the other thing is just kind of advising her on returning to tennis, right? Like, can she start playing? There's a game called 21 where it's tennis, but it doesn't have a lot of the intensity to it. What you're starting to educate her on how many games a week she can try. Like, let's start just hitting at a wall first. And if that's going well, now can you hit with a partner that you trust to not run you into the ground? And so we're just doing like hits over the net for a certain period of time. Let's say she's out there for a half hour to start. See how that goes that day and the next day. If that goes well, next time you're out with that same partner for an hour. Next time you're out there, can you guys actually play a game? And then next time she's out there or like say she does well for a certain amount of time, then can you actually introduce a full game, which is, for women, that would be 3 games in a row. So kind of make sure that you're also managing, let's say this was a baseball player, right? You need that return to throw program. Let's say it was a hockey player. Are you having him do kind of some wind sprints back and forth to see if you can slowly get him back to that change of direction while under fatigue? Any of that fatigue state training whenever they're actually already tired. Sometimes I'll just have people get on the bike and power. And now we have to go do 2 highly skilled drills. So you're already tired, but now we're going to do a depth drop onto that one single leg. We're going back to the bike, power. And now you have to show me triple hops on one leg. So can you control that even though you're breathing heavy? And are you capable of still moving your body while you're breathing hard and while you're fatigued? So don't forget in that phase 4, that fatigue state training too. Cool. So then to test out of that, maybe you're doing your hop test, 5, 10, 5, maybe force plates, whatever's left over for them to kind of prove, and just seeing how those tennis progressions went for her. Pretty cool. All right. So if there's any questions that come out of the case study or just in general that you guys tend to come up with, I know that it's a longer module too. So like as you kind of get through it, if other things come up or other topics come up, put it out to the group. Even if I don't have an answer, maybe somebody else in the group does, or favorite exercises for whatever. If you guys have patients in particular that you're like, man, there's a particular person that I'm curious what you guys think, we can throw out some exercises to each other too, like ideas and stuff. So use that Slack, use that Facebook, however you want. But if that's a way that would be helpful, then for me, I think the best thing I can do is watch other therapists, because my exercise library grows, so that when I have patients not responding to particular cues, then I have other options. So gosh, yeah, anything like that you guys want to do, then throw it in the Slack and we can throw some stuff out. Pretty good. All right. I know it is late and I know it's some people's Friday tomorrow. So good luck with that last day of the week. Thanks for hanging out tonight. And then, yeah, just let me know if you have any questions, or stick it in the Slack for everybody. Okay.
Can I ask one question real quick?
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
What side was the patient using the racket on? Because I don't remember if you mentioned it.
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah. I was just curious. I was just curious. Yeah, because that was the one thing I was wondering the whole time.
Yeah. This is a totally made up patient. So let's say
Okay.
she was right-handed.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah, I know that is pertinent sometimes for sure. So very good. All right, guys, we'll have a wonderful end to your week, and we will catch you in about a month for the last call. So also, since that's the last call, like any particular things you want to chat about, it will be talking through the patient context, but then it's also kind of like a catch-all too for the end of the module. So we stuck modules 4 and 5 together. 5 is very, very short. We've talked about some of it already because some of it's like session flow and if you come upon problems and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's kind of going to be anything goes. So let me know your questions for that too. All right. Have a wonderful night. We'll catch you guys later.
Thank you so much, Corrie. Take care.
Yeah.